and Grand Rising for the deeper folks. We're going to get into what Mercury Retrograde is and any other questions that you guys have. I mean, because Mercury Retrograde is today, so we definitely have to talk about it. Mercury retrograde is about Mercury itself looking like it's going backwards because of the way that the planets orbit, but it's not really going backwards. But according from our perspective here on Earth, it looks like it's going backwards. Mercury is all about how you learn, how you receive information, how you give information, facts, data. Mercury can be about local travel. It can be about business. It's really good for like marketing and merchant stuff, negotiations and contracts. It's a whole slew of things. So if it's going backwards, it's basically asking you to review all of those things. Review your communication. Review how you learn or what you've learned. Okay, review contracts that you have signed or are about to sign. Definitely do not sign them during Mercury retrograde. I mean, all that stuff. Review your business terms and policies. Review anything that you've signed. Maybe look through it. Maybe look through like all of the agreements that we have said yes to in order for us to have all these apps on our phone. Like, that's what Mercury retrograde is about. A lot of people don't know what Mercury retrograde is about, and they think it's this really scary thing, and it's really not, which is why it's so important for you to understand what your chart is all about. The way that Mercury moves in the sky is going to affect people differently. Now, when I do like my astro forecast, I'm talking about in general, like the weather in general. Like, this is what's going on outside. And if you don't do anything about it, like, this is what's going to happen. It's going to rain today. You know, it's going to be a nice little sprinkle. Now, that rain may affect people differently. Like, if you have to travel, that's going to affect you differently. If it's raining, if you had a picnic or a dinner planned outside or an outside event where you were going to a concert, that's going to affect you differently if it's raining. If you were going to stay indoors all day anyway, and all you wanted to do is sleep, that rain is going to affect you differently. So when I do an astro forecast, I'm just saying, hey man, it's going to rain or it's going to snow today. So make sure that you have your coat, and make sure, because if you don't, then you're going to freeze when you go outside. But if you planned on just being at home, you know, good rocking, pocking the boots all night long, maybe the snow or the rain is just a nice backdrop to that. Now, when Mercury is retrograding in a specific place, it's going to be different also. So if Mercury is retrograding through Pisces, that's going to be a different retrograde than Mercury retrograding through Virgo. Because the energy that it's retrograding through is going to be different. So Mercury in Pisces is really about bringing the imagination down here through speech or through writing, right? People who have Mercury in Pisces really are great storytellers, especially when it comes to like fiction. They're amazing when it comes to stuff like that. So if Mercury was going retrograde in Pisces, you would want to look over like the music you're listening to, right? The films that you're watching. You want to look at the stories that you're listening to. You know, maybe like yesterday, I wanted to turn my brain off, so I ended up watching some ratchet stuff, and it was Basketball Wives. I'll say it. I'll put it out there. It was Basketball Wives. And I just wanted to turn my brain off. Hi, Dre. I wanted to turn my brain off. So I decided like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to watch Basketball Wives. Now, if that is something that I have been consistently watching over and over and over again, and Mercury starts to go into retrograde in Pisces, I would want to look at that. Like, what stories am I exposing myself to? Is it helping me or not helping me? Does that make sense? So Mercury in retrograde is going to have a different feel depending on what sign it's going through. And this sign that it's going through right now, it's going through the sign of Gemini. Mercury retrograde in Gemini is very powerful because Mercury loves Gemini. The sign of Gemini really enjoys collecting information, collecting facts, collecting data, being curious about the environment around itself, love talking to people. God, Gemini energy loves to talk. Okay, so Mercury is at home in Gemini because what Mercury likes to do, Gemini likes to do. So when they get together, man, it is a good time. However, when it goes into retrograde, you have to look at the part of your chart that's in Gemini. You have to look at the part of your chart that's in Gemini because that will explain a lot. If you want more specificity on what you're going to be dealing with instead of just a theme, I would look into what has been going on since May 15th, 2021. What has been going on since then? Think back to that time of May 15th to now. What has been the major frustration or the major theme that you've really been dealing with? So I have just like a quick little summary for you folks out there. If you don't know anything about rising signs, I would definitely, I'm going to do like a little talk on rising signs because a lot of folks just know their sun sign. And their sun sign is cool. Like you can still look at the stuff that I'm about to say for everybody and still get some good information from that. But like your rising sign is really the place that you really need to like look at. It is, to me, more important in most cases than your sun. The folks that I have in here, I'm seeing if I can remember all of your rising signs, and I can't. So I can like start with them. I think somebody is Capricorn rising, somebody is Sag rising, and that's all I can remember. I think. So if we're talking about how the Mercury retrograde is going to affect Sagittarius, oh, you're talking about relationships, like really important partnerships that you have in your life. Okay, I thought somebody was Capricorn. Okay, so I'm going to get to that. So yeah, if you're Sag rising, you're going to be looking at your past relationships a lot. And you're going to be one of those folks where if somebody pops up from your past, because it's Mercury retrograde is notorious for bringing people from the past here. If that happens with you, I implore you to remember why you all didn't make it. If the issues that were, okay, got you, Leo, I hear you. If the issues were really bad and they were valid, then look at those, understand they were valid, and move on. Like, do not entertain that at all, because what they're going to do is they're going to come back with all the information, facts, and data that you've been wanting to hear them say. All right, so they're going to come back with apologies. They're going to feel like they're a changed person. Everything that you had talked to them about or argued over all of a sudden feels like it's been resolved. Let me tell you, it hasn't. The universe, God, love, source, light, whatever you happen to believe in that's controlling this whole like show down here, that being or spirit decided to bring this part back to you so that you can remember how far you've grown. It is a test and a like show and tell of what you've gone through in your spirit. This is not a fate or destiny thing that has brought him or her back so that you can be like, oh, now we're together because they've changed. No. If you want to know if they've really changed, then chill until like the 22nd, 23rd of June. And around that time, if they are still like solid for like a week after that, then maybe we could think about some things. But nah, not right now. Not right now. I don't care. I don't care. Do not engage, Sagittarius. Okay? All right? Just look at how far you've come and be happy that you've gotten this far away from that situation. Capricorns, what's up with your routine? You really need to look at your routine. These are my Capricorn suns and my Capricorn risings. Like, you have to look at your routine. And what are you eating? What are you eating? Like, you are not even like paying attention to what's going on in there, man. Like, food is medicine. Food is fuel. This is supposed to support your dreams and your ambitions. How can you be ambitious and you're eating burgers 24/7? Like, your body is precious. And this Mercury retrograde is about that. I'm taking a multivitamin. How much green are we eating? Like, for real. How much water are we taking in a day? Like, daily. Are we drinking our water? Like, water has so much information for our bodies. Are your routines efficient? Your daily routines efficient? Is it really doing what you're asking it to do? Are you getting enough like diverse vegetables and fruit in your body? I know for me, like, I get stuck on like kale, asparagus, zucchini, watermelon. Those are the things that I eat all the time. Like, that's not a diverse enough plate for me to really do the things that I need to do, in my life. Okay, so just, do you have enough vitamins going in? And is your routine supporting you? Like, so you're going to be looking at that routine and health. Leo suns and Leo risings. Is your social environment really, really supporting you? Like, are your friends just around to like help you out in the superficial way? Like, really look at your circle. Like, people will always say back in the day, if you show me your friends, I will show you your future. If you're looking at your future being tied to these friends of yours, does that look like a future you really want? I mean, are they really helping you on a deep level? Like, really think about that. Are they? I know they're a diverse group of people who are curious and love to talk, but do they just sit around and gossip eventually? Just sit around, just be gossiping? Like, really look at that. Really look at your social environment and see if it's setting you up for your future. All right, and I'm going to go through just the other ones. I wrote some notes, so I'm going to just say something quickly. I think I got everybody who's in the place to be. Aquarius, sun and rising. I mean, your creativity is really cool. However, are you really allowing your emotions to flow through you so that you can have the fertile creativity that you've been really wanting? Like, the way that you're able to create things into this world is really delicious and really practical and helpful for humanity. So, like, are you really connecting to your emotions? Are you getting laid? For real? Are you, like, look at your romance. Look at the sexual intimacy that's happening right now in your life. Is that something that you really want? Is it something that you really want something better? All right, well, let's look over and see how that's going. And no, I'll leave it at that because then I'll be here all day. Okay, Pisces sun and Pisces rising. Are there any wounds that are coming up right now that came from your family or your father? Is that popping up there? Are there conversations that are happening around that? Look into that. Talk about it. Okay? Talk about it. Write down about it. Meditate on it. Look into that because that theme may be coming up around the time of our Mercury retrograde. Aries sun and Aries rising. I think what will be popping up a lot for you, this is about what happened in school. For me, I went to Tab High School in Yorktown, Virginia. And that place sucked. So what it did was I went to a high school where it was predominantly white, and the white folks that were there were of a higher class, right? So because they were of a higher class, the black students that were there, most of us were military kids, and they looked down on us for whatever reason, but that's neither here nor there. We didn't care about that. What I cared about and what stuck with me is the fact that the black guys in my high school did not date the black girls in our high school. Like, having them talk to us was cool. It was just a constant 4 years of feeling like a second class citizen walking around in the hallway. Learned from that experience that black men aren't really into black women. And that is a false statement, okay? Yes, I experienced that in and out, day to day, every day. But that doesn't mean that that is true. That's not true. That's not true. That's a fundamental thing that I received while I was in school and brought that mental concept with me as an adult. Just because it was true back then doesn't mean that it's true now. And I want you to look through those mental concepts that you had solidified at that age and see if how they're still playing out as an adult. Yes. Moving on. Taurus. Taurus sun, Taurus rising, your value systems. You're going to be really looking over what you deem as a priority and what's valuable in your life. That's going to be big. That's going to be super duperly fruperly big. Yes, fruperly is a word. And that's really it. Like, I'm not going to like dive into that because I think that that's pretty solid. Like, Taurus energy is very, very good and big on comfort. But some of the things that you are trying to make comfortable for you is getting in the way of your value system. What you really deem as important is your comfort keeping you away from priorities that you need to put in place in order to reach your dreams, to have more access to personal income and personal resources in general. I'm going to get to Gemini last because, Lord, they have been going through it, okay? Cancer, look to your dreams, man. I bet you've been having some amazing dreams. Write them down and then really dive into that, okay? Like, your dreams are going to be giving you a lot of things to review. So pay attention to that, okay? They're not just blah, blah, blah. Like, no, they're important. Write them down. Write them down. They have guidance in them, and they're going to give you the themes that you really need to start reviewing. Virgo, us, me. I'm going to talk about me, okay? Virgo energy, Virgo sun, Virgo rising. I am both. So, yeah. We really need to start looking at our career. And, you know, Virgo energy is very much about perfectionism and creating systems that are very efficient, but we also get stuck in our ways. Like, we find a way that works and we're like, there's no reason to change. Yeah, there's reasons to change. So there's certain processes and systems and things that you're doing that are supporting your career or within your career that really need to be reviewed. For me, I was doing all of my videos, all of my lives, my YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Instagram videos through a very cracked screen. I mean, my screen was cracked so badly that it had like 5 to 6 cracks in it. And it was just superly duperly bad. So I'm editing all of my stuff through these cracks. And the reason why I didn't want to switch to another phone is because I felt like I was going to lose all my information. Well, Mercury Retrograde came through, and somehow I dropped my phone and the screen didn't work anymore. So I was forced to move my stuff over to another phone. And when I tell you, like, this live that I'm doing now, it's like I can see myself clearly. Like, why didn't I just do this before? And this affects my career as an astrologer. Like, if I don't put myself out there and you guys don't see me, you don't know that I exist. So Yeah, I had to really look at some of the things and procedures that I was doing to support my career as an astrologer, and realize, like, just because I made a routine before and it was efficient before, it may not be efficient now. So check in on your procedures, routines, processes that you're doing that support your career, and make sure that they're actually supporting your career and you're not just stuck in a rut because you don't want to try something new. Libra, check in with your professors, your teachers, your spiritual gurus, your pastors. Check in with that group of folks in your life and make sure that they are allowing you to be curious, that they are allowing you to ask questions. If they're not allowing you to do that, to collect more information, to get a deeper meaning into whatever they're like talking about. For instance, when I put up that you shouldn't be doing any type of moon magic, moon rituals, or regular rituals that you would do around the full moon during a lunar eclipse, and somebody came in and asked me on TikTok, like, well, why? And I was like, that's a great question, because the energy right now is chaotic. And anything that you create right now is going to have a vibe or a frequency of instability or chaos. And you don't want that within whatever you're trying to create, whether it be manifestation work of your dreams or just like charging your crystals. You don't want that energy in there. So her asking that question was great. Now, I've seen on Twitter and other places where people ask questions and they're like, you didn't know that? Like, why are you asking me this? You should know this by yourself. Like, you should already know this. It's like, that's not how you deal with people and their curiosity. So with Libra Sun and Libra Rising, I ask you to look at your spiritual leaders or people that you deem like professor type folks in your life, your mentors, and really ask, like, are they allowing you to be curious and ask questions? Are they? Because that's how you get a deeper meaning into whatever spiritual system or belief system or philosophy that you're trying to live your life by. And if they're not allowing that in a very loving and safe way, then maybe you should rethink who your gurus and professors are in your life. Scorpio, therapy, talk about it. Scorpio Sun and Scorpio Rising, it is time for therapy. It's time. It is time. It is time. Mercury Retrograde is going to keep knocking you in the head about the things that are deep, 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 deep. I mean, the issues that really deal with the intimacy that you have in all of your relationships, whether it be your friendships, your relationships with your family, relationship with your boss, co-workers, all of that. Like, you have some things that are going on there within you that you need to talk about and get therapy for. So if you went to therapy and stopped, go back. If you don't want to go to therapy, buy a book. Google about it. But you really need to start doing that. So the last one is Gemini. Gemini, poor Gemini. Gemini, you have been going through it. She said, yikes. I'm just saying, if you got a Scorpio Sun or Scorpio Rising, like, it is time for therapy. Stop playing. Stop playing. And I have to be blunt with you guys, with you all, because Scorpios are locked up tight, okay? Y'all have walls on walls on walls, like racks on racks on racks. Y'all have walls on walls on walls. And it's time to talk about it. It's time to talk about it. But Geminis, my poor Geminis, you have been having so much energy around your sun or in your first house. And I have so much compassion for you. Because if I am good at what I do, you're a Scorpio Sun. Girl, therapy is the way. Therapy is the way. And find a right one that you can really get into it with. Yes. But again, I understand people are not always open to therapy. So whatever it is, because I feel like Scorpios know what the root issue is because they research so well, they probe so well. You know what it is, at least buy a book on the topic to start working on that, to at least get the ground going and turned. But Geminis, yes, you've been probably split in many different directions. Your attention is everywhere, and everybody is feeling what you're going through on a lower level, but you are feeling it at the highest. So this time of Mercury retrograde is about you looking into you. You, are you really presenting to the world what you really want to be? Is this who you really want to present yourself as? Is it? Is it? How are you showing up in your family? Is that the role you really want to play in your family? Like, seriously, look into those things. That's Mercury retrograde. Just think about what's been going on in the last 2 weeks. Those things are going to come up again. And then they're going to come up again. And that's the reason why a lot of people demonize Mercury retrograde, because it's like, I already passed this test. Why are we doing this again? I don't want to do this anymore. That's a shout out to my best friend again, because she sang that song this week and it made me giggle. Because that song, that Rihanna song, was so dope back in the day, but that's neither here nor there. I know you don't want to keep going over these same issues over and over and over and over and over again, but again, whatever you believe is controlling this whole earth thing, they're bringing this to you in order for you to really look at it, because it may not be as great as you think it is. Your diet may not be as great as you think it is. And if you just change one thing, like buying a multivitamin, and you start taking that, in a month or so, you start realizing like, damn, I should have been taking this a long time ago. My energy is different, or my headaches are gone. Like, you don't have to live in the state that you're living in. And a lot of the things that we're accepting as just normal, Mercury retrograde comes through and be like, that's not normal. That's not. Look at that again and make it better. Make it better. All right, any questions? I want to make sure that I'm here for questions too. Because like I said, I am getting a lot of folks coming through the DMs and asking me questions, and I think it's great. I love it. I love that people are coming in and asking me stuff, but at the same time, like, I'm never not working if I keep that up. So I want to have a space, which I'm going to try and do this every Sunday. Try. There's a lot of people who can't do chart readings during the week. So that's why I was like, I really want to try and do something where I'm available every week. So if I have a chart reading on Sunday during this time, I will let everybody know that I'm going to change my go live to another time. But I'm going to try and make myself a little bit more available so people can ask me questions and it's not all up and through the DMs. We went over what Mercury retrograde is, how it affects each sign. That's really it. Is this a good week to travel? I wouldn't. Mercury in retrograde loves to mess with travel plans. It's like its favorite thing to do. It is its favorite thing to do. I wouldn't. If you can avoid it, I would not travel during this time. I wouldn't. And it's going to be in retrograde until June 22nd. Oh, that sucks because my daughter's coming on the 21st. Boo! So yeah, on June 22nd is when it's going to like really start to go direct again. And if you can, I would reschedule. Or if you have to travel, give yourself plenty of time. I mean, plenty of time. So, like, if you need to be there 2 hours before, do that. And some more if you can. Because Mercury retrograde loves traffic. God. And it loves to delay flights. Oh, loves to do that. Loves to delay flights. Loves it. Traffic and delays, it's thing. It's thing. So yes, I would try my best to delay it if you can until after retrograde. But if you can't, just give yourself a lot of time, review everything that you need to do as many times as you can, and then take some CBD before you go, because you need to be calm. Things are going to go wacky, and that's okay. You need to be flexible with the change. Any other questions? There's so many other things that I really wanted to get into, but I feel like I've talked your ear off. I really have. I feel like I've talked your ear off. Retrograde season it can be tough. It can be tough. Saturn is in retrograde. Is what, of course, you're welcome. For real. The CBD will get you through whatever you need to. I mean, don't put your federal government jobs on the line, though. And if it's illegal in your state, don't do that. But if it's not, load up. Saturn retrograde is something that's really delicious. It's going to be a retrograde, I think, for 4.5 months. So this is really about authority and maturity and responsibility and obligations that you have to yourself that are happening within you. There are certain things that I feel obligated to and responsible for that have nothing to do with me. And Saturn in retrograde will make you look into that and be like, oh, this isn't a responsibility that I'm even supposed to be having. I should not be responsible for your feelings, for example. I'm not responsible for your reaction to me being myself. Around that time, my authority was questioned when it comes to astrology. And I passed the test because I was just like, the way that I feel about astrology is either like you're cool with it or you're not. If you don't believe in it, that's okay. You're absolutely allowed to not believe in astrology. I passed the test and I was really, really happy and excited for myself, because when your inner authority is solid, like nothing can really sway that. And that comes from being challenged, really. When you go through something and you see how you react in situations, it is testing you on all levels and you get to really see who you are. Once you know that and you know who that is and what that is, like no one can move you. No one can move you. So Saturn in retrograde likes to bring tests or rewards to your maturity. It really does. So I talked about that last time. So with Saturn being in retrograde and now Mercury's in retrograde, Pluto's been in retrograde for a while. So that's your determination and your willpower, your self-empowerment. Yeah, it's retrograde season. So a lot of it, whenever you're thinking about retrograde, just think about that planet working within you, inside of you, internally. What's going on? Yeah, when Mercury's in retrograde, you don't have to stop everything that you're doing. You don't. If you know your chart and you know where Mercury is retrograding inside your chart and what aspects it's making to certain things, then it gives you a better feel of what you'll need to be reviewing. I really am going to wrap up. Any questions about anything? Trying to find balance in what my service is to others while honoring the needs of my moon and not overextending. Yes. I would definitely look at everybody who's here. I would definitely look at where your moon is, like where it is in your chart, what aspects are happening to it, what sign it's in, what house it's in, and see where, if that's a place that you're overextending yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely. If you ever want like a lunar return chart reading, I do those. I love those. I do that for myself every month. Lunar return chart reading shows you what your emotions, like the theme of your emotions that month. So my moon is in the ninth house, was in the ninth house for my lunar return chart reading this past month. And all I've been doing is dealing with belief systems and philosophies, which is what the ninth house is all about. That's all I've been doing is dealing with narratives that I've been telling myself and changing those. That's all I've been doing. That's all my emotions have been focused on. So yeah, if you want a lunar return chart reading, it changes every month and it gives you a theme on what your emotions are going to be focused on that month. I can definitely give you insight to that. But yeah, looking into that is so big. Working on body stuff too. Yeah, I've been seeing that you've been going to like acupuncture, going to nutritionists, holistic folks. How has that been working out for you, Lissa? Yeah, lunar return charts and solar return charts. Solar return charts show you what your path and journey is going to be that year. So my sun, it was in my fourth house. Fourth house deals with ancestry, your culture, your private thoughts, and your actual domicile, your actual physical house. And I moved this year. I actually changed houses. So with my sun being in the fourth house in my solar return chart, I already knew that a lot of moving was going to happen around my house, my physical house. That's how that works. It's been great. Acupuncture is really helping. Doing cupping too. You know what's really interesting? My husband, God, this is so long. I'm so sorry, y'all. I guess if you guys didn't want to be here, you could just leave. So I don't need to apologize. I'm working on my apologies. Yeah, the cupping thing, me and my husband, we're basketball fiends. And when I tell you that a lot of athletes have been popping up with the cupping on their skin, you could see it. It is like a new phenomenon. It really is. And it's so interesting that a lot of folks, when cupping was being talked about in circles amongst the mystics and the conspiracy theorists and the natural organic folks, and a lot of science was just like, this is nothing. This doesn't do anything when it first came out. And then eventually science caught up with it and was like, no, this is actually a really good thing to do. So there are a lot of professional athletes that I know for certain do it because see like the cupping circles that are on them. So it's definitely being used by professional athletes, and they're not going to be doing something that's not going to work. So it works. It helps. That's so big. Okay, no, for real. Are we good? Are we good? All right, I will start wrapping up unless somebody does put a question in the inbox. I'm going to try and do this every Sunday morning. The only other time that I won't be able to do it is if I have a chart reading. I do chart readings. I offer a solar return reading, which gives you the theme of the year. And I do lunar return chart readings, which will give you a theme for the month. Both of those readings are, well, the solar is 45, the lunar is 30. I do a walkthrough for your chart, that's $90, where we go through each one of your houses and we just do a summary. I can't get into the deep, dark parts of it. I would love to, but then I would be here all day. So it's 90 minutes for $90, and we walk through all of your houses and give you a summary of what's going on. If you just want the big three and some insight into a topic, that would be $50, and it'll be an hour reading. And if you just really want to know, like, I don't know anything about astrology, I just want the basics, the foundational reading, we'll just give you your sun, rising, and your moon. And we'll talk about the house placements, and that's really it. It's really, really a brief summary. That's a 30-minute service that I offer. And that's $20. Those prices will be going up probably in September. They'll probably be going up, but for right now, that's where the prices are. So hit me up. Let the folks know if you have done a reading with me. your word of mouth is the most important part of my job. Like, if you don't tell people, I don't get services. No one comes to see me if you don't tell the homies. So thank you for all the people who have recommended me to people. And I am forever grateful. So I care for you all. Thank you so much for being here. We'll do this again next Sunday. I really appreciate you spending your Sunday here with me. Sunday is such a sacred day for so many. So I really appreciate you spending it here with me. And I will see you guys next Sunday, same time. Tell the homies about me. And I really do care for each and every one of you.